PTA is pleased to present our show's originator and star recording artist, Jeannie C. Riley. Our hostess, author, lecturer, and Christian comedian, Dr. Bonnie Libhart. We're pleased to welcome recording artist and songwriter, Cheryl K. Warner. Our special guest, internationally acclaimed recording artist and songwriter, Margot Smith. Today on PTA, our ladies will share their personal testimonies with our audience and how today's Christian women survive and overcome some of life's most challenging problems.
Hello and welcome. I'm Bonnie Libhart, and we're so happy you joined us today. We have a very incredible experience for you, and that is meeting the people here on this PTA set. PTA, maybe you think of it as Harper Valley PTA perhaps, or people that agree, or maybe praise the Almighty. Well, the one that came up with all these wonderful words is the person to my right, I always have to say right and left, as Jeannie C. Riley, that you may remember from Harper Valley PTA. And she is, well, even though it's her idea and her program, we're going to say she's also a special guest today because she's going to be telling about some of the things that she's gone through that perhaps you've experienced too. And that is depression, bipolar, and not only, she's not the only one, maybe a few million other people in the States and around the world. But Cheryl K. Warner, can you believe that? And Margot Smith has experienced that. And so they're going to be telling their story today, part of their story, and if you have questions, we may have some answers for you, or an 800 number or two that you can get those answers. Well, Jeannie C., welcome to your own show, PTA.
Thank you, and I don't want to disappoint anyone. I want them to know that I still have many of my mini skirts, and I use them for handkerchiefs now.
Oh, Jeannie. And the boots. How about the boots? That's great. Hey, they were beautiful. You are beautiful, and they were, and that made people remember who you are right now. Well, so I can't believe that this mini skirted.
He was in charge of the whole thing. He let me have my success.
Well, that's right.
So that I'd find it empty to find real success in him.
All right. And did you actually go through depression? I can't believe you really did. I mean, you had everything.
Went through any
first
deeper
week
than I did, they'd be dead.
Harper Valley PTA, you went out and bought 6 Cadillacs for the crew, I think, wasn't it, in purple or something wild
Well,
thing.
I mean,
they gave you $12,000
I only got one
first
of them.
week.
I only got one of them.
Well, you can only drive one at a time.
You have to have a purple Cadillac when you first move to Nashville.
That's right. And now you're from a big state of Texas, but a little tiny Anson, Texas, where they have Jeannie C. Riley days and Johnny Walker days. What do you mean? I mean your uncle. What's
Johnny Walker? That's something you drink, isn't it?
Johnny Moore.
No, Johnny Walker. Just Johnny Moore.
Johnny Moore. I don't even know Johnny Walker.
My uncle, he's the one that had the local jamboree there.
That's right.
That I used to sing at. And he's the one that brought me to Nashville.
Yeah, and he didn't even know you had those, that you sat there when you were one of the latchkey kids and stayed at home by yourself and learning all the country and western singers, the Connie Smith songs and all of that. Got up there and sang them then. I don't know if that was a Connie Smith song that sang.
No, that was a little before her time. I actually had just gotten married. I think it was about 1964 when she came out. I think the big hit, Once a Day, was in '65, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, someone that you listened to their songs, and you got up there on that
first time
jamboree, and your dad was in the audience, didn't even know that you could sing like that, and there you were, and he went home and told your mom, say, Jeannie C. sang tonight.
Oh, she'd have been there if she'd have known I was going to sing, but she was working the 3 to 11 shift at the hospital.
And
she was
so
a nurse.
he said, did he say,
Little Booger did good.
Yeah, well, we'd say,
that Little Booger done good.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of what is going on even now. And that's hundreds of CDs and albums that are out. But mainly, how could a person with all that success ever be depressed? Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, you know, actually, I think it was being able to attain that success that I was looking for, because that's what was going to make me happy in life. I want to be somebody. I want somebody to notice me. I want to matter. I want to have a few things. I want to go places. And Harper Valley PTA was the vehicle that gave me the opportunity to get there.
But you didn't even want to do that song.
Oh, the night I got the Record of the Year for Harper Valley PTA, I went home and laid on the bed and cried, because I thought, wow, is this all there is? You know, like the little kid at Christmas from the unhappy home opens the 50th present. Is this all there is? I was looking for happiness in something that was not going to be possible in. I mean, I love the gifts of life. I love everything that she's given me. So many little gifts. I appreciate everything so much because I know the giver of the gifts. You know, I was looking for the giver of the gifts.
Call a car little, but
I could enjoy the success of a Harper Valley. Now I'd know what to do with it.
That's right. Well,
but I don't expect one.
You're a success. But tell us about the Depression and what you think brought you into that, and then what in the world can we do to get out of it?
Well, as I look back, I really think that God stepped back and allowed me to be tested with such a severe depression. Because shortly after the release of Harper Valley PTA, within 2 years, I had already accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I was already starting to do things like Christian TV, crusades, churches, things like that, and I got rather bold and probably said more than maybe even I should have from secular stages, but I felt like that was my platform.
They didn't cut you off. I heard you saying some Bible verses.
I usually repeated, you know, I could go back where I'd been, but, you know, I learned not to preach. I learned just to share my story, and if the shoe fit me, maybe it would fit them, you know. I thank God let me have that success so I could find it empty, so that I would look again for truth, and I found it in the Jesus my grandpa shared with me and with everybody. When I was growing up, he was a minister, 50 years. And it was, oh goodness, I went through a divorce, then we remarried, and he tried to be Roy Rogers and I was Dale Evans. We got us a big farm and everything, and still couldn't relate because we were, at that point, spiritually unyoked. We had been spiritually yoked our first marriage because neither one of us did anything for the Lord, you know, or let him do anything for us. But I went through a second divorce, and
from the same man.
Yeah.
We're thinking of marrying him.
I married Mickey Riley 2 times, and I came close to marrying him a 3rd time because he is a prince. He's just a prince, but we just had nothing in common except our respect for one another and love for the kids. But you know, each time you go through a divorce, it's a hard thing, and that tended to make me depressed.
And your daughter, you said kids, but actually you had one child, Kim. And didn't you live your life a lot through her?
Yeah, I didn't know I was doing it at the time.
Don't a lot of
I was bored at home, I realized, and so I started doing good things, like I'd load all the kids up and take them to church. We'd ride from Franklin to Madison a lot of times to a church that we went to there quite a few times, and I would buy their kind of music to lure them into the car so they'd come with me. They thought I was cool. Afterwards, we'd roll the windows down and ride through the streets of Madison and Hendersonville, just having fun. And I thought that I was getting somewhere because I was planting seeds with these kids, and I realized that the Lord did use those times. I've understood that one of the boys in particular became a Christian and is working for the Lord now. But when my daughter started to marry, I realized, hey, I'm fixing to be left alone here, and I don't know what to do. Because Mickey always did his thing, and I did my thing, and that was my first major depression, is when I realized she was going to leave home. And
I heard you bought a lot of clothes, $600 worth of clothes from a thrift shop.
See, that's a lot of money to spend in a thrift shop. I mean, can you imagine how many articles I got?
50 cents.
But see, this was like probably 3 years ago, when I was not depressed, but I was excited about what was happening in my life. The Lord was getting my feet on the ground, getting me ready to do some things, like this, for instance. And you know, if we don't take care of ourselves and get our rest, the devil knows exactly where to get you, because he knows where your weak spot is. So,
exactly.
I was buying all the clothes I would need for TV shows and stuff like this, and you could get more at the thrift store, and they all looked so nice on me. After all, they were slenderizing. You know, I got big sizes, and my friend was outside the swinging doors taking what I didn't want, but really there was only a handful that I handed her out because they all looked so wonderful on me. And then I got them home and got some rest, and about a week later I started trying them on, and they liked about that much coming together. So,
they weren't even the right size.
No, I said that to say this. It gives you an understanding for people, say, like anorexic people, who literally can look in a mirror and see fat that's not there.
Yes.
I saw clothes that came together and looked great on me. How that happened, I don't know, but it did.
Yeah.
I had
That's in
tremendous
mania.
spending sprees. Did you have any of those?
I only did a couple things. I wrote a couple $1,000 checks to just people that,
You shouldn't have.
And you know what? The thing was, I went, oh, I have $1,600 in my bank account. I shouldn't have that much. I don't deserve to have that, because once I write all my little checks, I'll have a couple $100 left, so I need to give this $1,000 away. So I sent it to this is so ironic, I sent it to this little friend of mine who had cancer, and she was just a high school friend, and I wanted to give it to her. And just a couple of months ago, this was 5 years, she sent it back.
Oh, wow.
And cool. I called her and I went, I don't want it back.
I'll give you my address later.
No.
Yeah.
She said, I don't want
She's
it
got
back,
mine.
but she said, I want to pay it back. I'm well. God has healed me. I have a job now and everything's wonderful. And she said, I won't accept that. I can't believe you sent that to me. But I would have taken everything and just put it in a plastic bag and walked, because that's what I thought I deserved. And I also thought my husband was going to hurt me. So that's all I wanted, was this little plastic bag full of some clothes, and I wanted to give everything I had away.
Wow. You get really generous.
Oh, you do. You do.
Especially if you're naturally generous anyway.
Absolutely.
And she is, you know.
And I think if you have the propensity when you're in mania to run toward alcohol, to run toward whatever is most of your brain.
Overeating,
but if you love the
sex,
Lord,
weaknesses,
but if you love the Lord, you'll run to the Lord too.
Yes, Amen.
You will run to Him, because Satan is after your life and your soul, and you will run to the thing that's most important to you. And for me, hallelujah, it was God, because I don't drink, or I've never had any of those sort of things that I've fallen into. And so I ran to Him.
Well, did some people could say you had become fanatic about God? I mean, where are you now going to get snakes and start charming them?
No snakes. They really didn't. Except my son.
Family had said that I would. In fact, my mom, because the legalistic background we came from, said that I said, Mother, I am just more interested in God than ever. I just want to read. I want to pray. She said, I think it's already too late for you. Because she thought I wasn't living the life, in the form that she had raised me in, and she
they thought
didn't
Jesus was going to come in on a throne to begin with when He was on a coat.
And it wasn't too late for that thief on the cross, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Last minute.
That's right.
I'm not going to wait and take that chance.
Good idea. Neither am I.
So what do you think that the spending is part of, or the generosity? And what do you mean you spent on these spending
I was
sprees?
just compelled to go buy up anything and everything for no reason at all, no rhyme or reason. My poor husband's credit cards were taken to the max. I mean, he was almost to a point of declaring bankruptcy because I was so uncontrolled with my spending. And it does go with the bipolar personality.
You're saying things that maybe I need to go get the test again personally, but I would buy so much that my husband got to the point where, like, I'd say, oh, there's an estate sale, let's go. He'd say, which storage are we going to put it in?
Wow.
Because it was just spending to the point. Now, we started a company too, but we actually did take bankruptcy, and for the last 10 years, we've been paying it back. We paid back $1.4 million in the last 10 years that we've gotten from things that we've done in the company that we had that we didn't have anymore, and then we sold the product line. Now we do have a way through royalties that we could do that, but we paid everybody back that I had borrowed money from brothers and everyone. But I didn't realize that was a fault.
I didn't realize what I was doing and why I was so compelled. Did not understand, but it's a part of the disease.
Isn't it interesting, though, that how Satan thinks he's being so smart by causing us to do things, tempting us with things that we give into, like these spending sprees, or see, I think depression and mania are spirits. I really do. That he brings against people. They may medicate it for the body, but it's still a spiritual thing to me. And he always overplays his hand. You know, we were God's people. The devil knew it. And he tried, I think, to destroy each one of us in one way or another.
And that's what he wants to do with every person.
It's turned to a testimony instead.
Destroy.
God wins.
Exactly. And people like us that are singers, and it's just a job for us. I respect, I wish I could sew but it's a job for us. But people like us have the ability to reach a lot of people, and I ain't gonna shut my mouth. Not as long as I know there's a Lord. I'm gonna raise His name.
I think I'm bipolar for that very reason. I think that I'm to do His work.
That's right.
And this is the only way in the route.
Exactly. And in Branson, it's a secular show, but it's a very, very sweet, wonderful show, and we do praise God. But
people know you're a Christian when they see your show.
12 minutes there that you're just praising the Lord.
We do. At the end of our show, we give Him the glory.
12 minutes is a long time.
But even in my part, that's when I was singing my hit records and yodeling and all that. I sing Christian country music, and I go, I'm going to sing my song. I don't have time to tell my story, but I have time to sing my song. Whether it's God's bigger than Wall Street, which He is,
I love that.
or
love it.
This time, or whatever it is. I promise God that I would lift His name. If I have 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and if it's a secular show, that's what I do.
Well, don't you think that every Christian that God has chosen for a ministry endures at least one major Job trial? See, we're always going to have trials as Christians because we're a threat to the devil. He's always going to come against us. But I believe, in my case, that deep, dark depression that lasted for so many years, bedridden for the most of 8 years, never thinking I'd get out, thought I was going to die and go to hell, believed the lie that I was going to take all my people with me and their blood would be on my hands. I can't tell you the torment. But when God brought me through that, and through it all, I never said one time, Lord, this is not fair. Why have you done this to me? I remember thinking, am I the worst person in the world that I should be going through this? I must be, Lord, because you're never wrong. Through it all, even in the midst of my hell, I was still giving praise to Him when I thought I was going to hell.
Oh, I remember that.
And
but the time comes, though, that I think that God says to the devil, my child is proven faithful. Now take your hands off. It's now time for the payback.
A lot of major ministries were praying for you. In fact, God, I think Margot was instrumental in getting you to a major event.
Oh, it was wonderful, Bonnie. She and 3 of my friends from, actually about 4 of them from Kansas City, got together. They organized a service at Margot's church and notified, I think, about 100 different people within the music industry to either come and be there or remember me at that time in prayer when that day would arrive. And every major ministry that they could think of was notified to do the same. And it took 4 ladies 3 hours to get me dressed to go to it. Actually, my bones were weak. Did you notice when you were trying to take me shopping to find an outfit, they had to buy clothes for me because all I had was just huge tents, Nashville tent and awnings where they used to get me stuff.
Oh, Jeannie, cut that out.
Well, I gained a lot of weight laying there, you know. My food, that was my solace, so I thought, you know.
Of course.
Eat and roll back over, but no exercise. And
But you went
my
there.
bones actually got weak. My muscles were weak. I couldn't stand up for long. I kept trying to go back to bed while they're getting me ready. My mother had to come over the day before, literally, and hose me down in the shower. I actually was holding to each side of the shower, trying to hold myself up while she handled the water. I was that bad, and at the service, I couldn't even say thank you. I couldn't open my mouth to say anything. Can you believe it? You know, but I really couldn't. I felt bad about that, but it was impossible for me to express myself. I didn't feel any different that night, or even the next day I didn't feel. I realized a month down the road I wasn't feeling that much different, but I was starting to at least be able to respond a little bit. I started getting up and watching TV, and my mother was writing letters back home to Texas to our relatives. Oh, it's a miracle Jeannie's watching TV. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Big event.
yeah,
Big event.
Jeannie's become a couch potato. It's all clap. You know? But when the answer came, after all those people that had prayed for me, and I had been carried to various ministries, big-time ministries that are known for healing of every kind, and I know all those prayers that were sent up for me were heard and answered. But I'll never forget, when the answer came, it was just me, God, and the Holy Word. I found a card in a drawer full of other cards, but I only pulled out one, and it was my daughter. She had written me at the lowest point in my life in that depression, and she wrote Psalm 103 in it. And I later asked her, how come? She said, because you were so miserable, I prayed God would give me something to give you a little peace. Well, back then, I couldn't have received it, but I had been getting a little better, a little better. And I had not been reading the Bible because it broke my heart to read what I once had that I thought I'd lost. And all that time, by the way, I still would pray for other people, and they'd have answers to the prayers, you know. But I thought I was forever cut off, so it was only out of curiosity, not expecting anything, not even asking for anything. I started reading Psalm 103. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. And I realized that I was actually blessing the Lord, and He was receiving it, receiving blessing from me, communicating with me, and I was back on with Him. I read the rest of those 22 verses, probably 5, 6, 7 minutes, and I experienced the truth and power of each truth, of each verse.
That was
I
your
was
turning point?
perfectly healed. I've been at peace ever since. A couple of times, the devil has tried to make me think I was getting depressed again, and I would say, oh, Lord, I've told everybody, oh, why is this happening, you know? And He said to me, I delivered you from depression. What are you afraid of? And I realized, oh, fear.
The spirit of
so I
fear.
cast fear
the
out.
worst one.
Fear of depression will try to make you think you're depressed.
Exactly. And when I was sick, I remember trying to drive the car, and it was like this. And I don't know if it was the lithium, which I don't take anymore. It doesn't work for me, and it does for lots of people. But I take very, very tiny bit of Dipacoat, the smallest you can get. But I couldn't drive, I couldn't sing, I couldn't do anything. And it's that fear. Fear is the worst thing
I
in
had
the world.
terrific fear also.
Isn't
Because
that?
fear represents so many different
Oh, it
things. You don't
does.
recognize it always.
I was
does.
afraid of my husband. I thought
Oh,
my
me
husband
too.
was going to kill me.
Me too, exactly. Isn't that awful?
I was told by somebody that my husband was going to kill me.
My husband wouldn't even spank the cat, let alone kill somebody.
My
Hurt
ex-husband spanked
somebody.
our daughter, I think 3 times in her little life, very lightly, and he cried each time.
Oh, yeah.
But he was going to kill me. Somebody
Really?
had me believing that in my depression.
Isn't it? And I remember going to my house after I got out of the hospital, and I'm going, oh, there's going to be this big party there, and I love that doctor and all those wonderful nurses, and they're going to be big, grandiose party. And then I'm driving, I'm going, no, Margot, think again. Just get with it. Nobody's going to be there but you. You're going to unlock the door, and, you know, mine didn't last a long time. But I really knew that Jeannie C. Riley was going to drive again. She'd go, I can't can't ever drive again. I knew she was going to drive. I knew she was going to sing. I knew she was going to do shows. I'm praying. I knew she was going to do talk shows. I knew she was going to be a witness for everybody because I believe that in my heart. And she drives more now.
Hey, she drove 100 miles to my house in the worst rain you could ever imagine.
56 years old, for the first time, drove 100 miles in one direction by myself. I felt so grown up.
I love it. I love it. Don't
I was ready for the second grade then.
In addition to the prayer and the exercise and the right foods and all the things you've learned from them, from these 4 people today. Jeannie C. Riley, thank you very much for thinking of this idea of PTA, people that agree.
And Cheryl K. Warner that the Lord put with me in 2000. You're 2000.
That's right.
Well, thank you very
Margot
much,
Smith. Margot Smith, yodel. Maybe she'll have a moment to yodel. But we want to quickly give you a couple of numbers, too, that you can call a helpline. If you think you or someone you know and love have depression or bipolar, it's 1-800-950-6264. And for this show, 1-877, a toll-free number, 823-6886. We have actually 3 websites, so when you call the number, we'll be able to give those to you. And these ladies will be happy to answer your questions about
Yes, if there's any husbands out there, I'll give my number.
Yeah.
I don't have one. Oh, no.
No, don't mean husbands.
Oh, no, thy maker is thine husband, the Lord of hosts.
Right.
There you go.
That's right.
I had a big story to tell about when my husband's neck got broken and how God healed it when we were covering the Indy 500, but we'll have to wait till another time. Another show. Hey.
Yeah.
So we'll have to just wait for
She's
PTA
full of
again.
stories.
I bet you.
You've written, what, 8 books?
Yes,
8 books full of stories.
There you go, and a
great
couple of them on the internet.
She's got a doctorate in journalism. I rub shoulders and hot cotton.
$3.
There you
Hey,
go.
I got
Dr.
married
Bonnie.
at 16, picked cotton out in the cotton fields, and started going to school. My kids think that's all I ever did was went to school.
That's all they ever knew.
That's all they ever knew. They did TV and went to school. But I used to want to get to live. When we first got a radio when I was 9 years old, to get that little kid out that I could hear a little child singing radio. I wanted to get the kid out because I had no sisters to be my sister. So now I have 3 beautiful sisters.
Oh,
This is one
Aren't we lucky?
Yes, we
Cheryl
are.
K.
We're
Warner,
blessed.
and Margot Smith.
I love it.
And we are so happy that you are our sisters and brothers too.
Yodely,
And we
letty
just
ho.
think you, yeah, yodel out of it. We're out.
Boy, that hurt.